Hi, I'm Andre Huey and welcome to this edition of the SKN Newsline Newscast on Channel 95. The police are investigating the death of a man in Bath Plain following a report received sometime before 2 p.m. on Thursday, June 3rd. The police responded to an apartment where 52-year-old James Edward Shufford Jr. resided. They found his lifeless body hanging in a doorway inside the building. Shufford is a national of the United States. The district medical officer arrived at the scene and pronounced him dead. Personnel from the crime scene unit visited and processed the scene. An autopsy has been scheduled to determine the exact cause of death. Persons with information about this incident are asked to contact the Charlestown Police Station by dialing 469-5391 or the crime hotline at 707. Investigations into the matter are ongoing. I'm Andre Huey reporting for SKN Newsline.
Government Minister Lindsay Grant, who has responsibility for the St. Christopher A&C Ports Authority, SCASPA, revealed on Thursday, 3rd June, that staff members of the statutory corporation have been placed in quarantine to be tested for the COVID-19 virus. This comes following a recently leaked document showing a proposed plan to ensure that all persons doing business with SCASPA will have to be vaccinated. SCASPA was also preparing the seaport at Port Sante for the return of cruise ships on a limited basis in June. The view of Minister Grant is that the board of SCASPA made decisions in the interest of the staff and operational safety, and it's especially crucial as many members of SCASPA staff are at high risk of contracting the COVID-19 virus. Grant addressed the current situation at the Ports Authority during the 3rd June press conference of the Prime Minister, pointing out that the precautionary anti-COVID-19 measures had been in discussion for several months.
As I speak, 17 of the workers at SCASPA are in quarantine. In fact, as I speak, we have an intrusion of positivity in shed number 2. As I speak, there is a particular company in this federation which interacts on a daily basis with SCASPA. The entire staff is in quarantine as I speak. I would like to adopt what Dr. Wilkinson said in his last minute or two of his presentation, which is, at the end of the day, I, as a vaccinated individual, will now have to ask myself if I'm going to allow an unvaccinated individual to come within my space. As I said, SCASPA is an independent entity. It is not directed by the cabinet as far as I'm aware.
The minister revealed also that the vaccination rate at SCASPA has risen substantially from 6% to 62% in just a few months. Glenn Barth, SKN Newsline. The St. Kitts and Nevis private sector must play a significant role in getting the economic growth oriented, according to Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris, speaking at his press conference on 3rd June. Responding to SKN Newsline on achieving sustainable economic recovery and the input required of the private sector to make the recovery work in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, Prime Minister Harris said engagement and more investment were crucial.
The private sector of the country is critical in getting the country back to work. The private sector should be the springboard from which new ideas would spring. New opportunities are realized, and a consistent devotion to constructive engagement in national development should come from. And that is why even in our management of the COVID-19, we involve the private sector as part of the all-of-society approach. We have had an excellent relationship with the private sector, not only at the level of the chamber, at the level of individual entities, There will be other discussions with the Chamber of Industry, with the small businesses. In fact, just yesterday, myself, the Attorney General, the Deputy Prime Minister, and Minister Hamilton met with the Contractors Association. What I would like to see is really more investment leading to more jobs. More jobs mean more incomes, mean our people can go about doing the things that they would normally must do. And they can be a happier people in St. Kitts and Nevis.
After a lengthy but necessary lockdown in combating COVID-19, authorities believe that the economy can be reopened as increasing numbers of persons become vaccinated against the virus. Glenn Bart, SKN Newsline.
Elliot's Funeral Parlor is the first licensed embalmer in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. We have a friendly and professional staff. At Elliot's Funeral Parlor, we offer a wide range of packages from $6,500. Homegoing service at chapel, locally made caskets, tailoring of outfit for deceased of your choice, wake, overnight with slideshow, funeral, death announcement, obituary, booklets, family pin-ons, memorial books, preparation of funeral arrangements, wreath, fresh and artificial. For further information, call 469-3298, 664-2007, or 660-0186. Elliot's Funeral Parlor in Gingerland, Nevis. Dedicated to those we serve.
I need some veggies for dinner. Let me just check the amount of sodium in this can. Oh no, this is too much. Let me try our next option. They did say it's healthy to consume less salt. This is much better. I am salt smart.
Football is back, and the St. Kitts and Nevis Football Association will be bringing you live football on its website, www.sknfa.com, with Premier League Live. Without fans in the stadium due to COVID-19 protocols, you can now watch every single Premier League match this season on www.sknfa.com and click on Live TV. Games are shown live on every match day with halftime and post-game shows. It's Premier League Live. Commentary, analysis, action. Never miss a game.
Bless up, Dejo here, and I'm doing my part in the fight against COVID-19 by following all safety protocols and, most importantly, rolling up my sleeve for the vaccine. So I'm encouraging you to do the same, because that's our best shot of protecting ourselves, our family, and our friends. So don't wait, vaccinate. Let's roll up to roll out.
Auto Plus Car Wash, located on the College Street Gut, Bastyr, St. Kitts. Bring your car to Auto Plus Car Wash to remove water stains, wiper marks. Get your doors, roof panel cleaned, seat floor mats, buffing, headlights, and engine wash. You get quality service at the best price at Auto Plus Car Wash. They really care for your car. Call 765-5140 or visit them on the College Street Gut, Bastyr, St. Kitts. Auto Plus Car Wash, where the service is number one. Welcome back. We turn our attentions now to regional news. Mehul Choksi, the Indian native wanted by India for financial crimes, had 2 court appearances in Dominica this week before a High Court judge and then a magistrate. Choksi was residing in Antigua but ended up in Dominica on a boat. He alleged he was kidnapped. It is a case being watched closely in Antigua and Barbuda, where Choksi is a citizen. ABS TV's Jamie J. Rocher has been tracking this development and has the details and pictures from the Nature Isle.
All eyes on the High Court of Dominica Wednesday morning as the court heard Choksi's writ of habeas corpus. The Indian-born diamond mogul, who's acquired Antiguan and Barbuda citizenship through the CIP, says he was kidnapped from Antigua last Sunday and taken to Dominica. Dominican authorities have detained him for illegally entering the country. Choksi brought the habeas corpus matter last week, alleging the authorities were holding him unlawfully. He appeared via Zoom at the hearing before High Court Judge M.E. Bernie Stevenson. Reports from journalists in Dominica said the respondents asked the judge to dismiss the case, arguing it was improperly filed. But Choksi's lawyers argued the request was unreasonable, as the matter is of great public importance. Government lawyers in Dominica have reportedly said Choksi should be deported directly to his native India instead of Antigua and Barbuda. Indian law enforcers are in Dominica, hoping the court will allow them to repatriate Choksi to his homeland to answer 4 charges. They've reportedly submitted documents to show Choksi did not complete the process to relinquish his Indian citizenship and that he's the subject of an Interpol Red Corner notice. The judge is expected to rule on the habeas corpus matter Thursday. Also coming out of this hearing, an order for Choksi to go before the magistrate's court to answer the illegal entry charge. These images from Dominica News Online show him entering the magistrate's court in a wheelchair. Jimmy J. O'Shea, ABS News. All eyes on the High Court of Dominica Wednesday morning as the court heard Choksi's writ of habeas corpus. The Indian-born diamond mogul, who's acquired Antiguan and Barbuda citizenship through the CIP, says he was kidnapped from Antigua last Sunday and taken to Dominica. Dominican authorities have detained him for illegally entering the country. Choksi brought the habeas corpus matter last week, alleging the authorities were holding him unlawfully. He appeared via Zoom at the hearing before High Court Judge M.E. Bernie Stevenson. Reports from journalists in Dominica said the respondents asked the judge to dismiss the case, arguing it was improperly filed. But Choksi's lawyers argued the request was unreasonable, as the matter is of great public importance. Government lawyers in Dominica have reportedly said Choksi should be deported directly to his native India instead of Antigua and Barbuda. Indian law enforcers are in Dominica, hoping the court will allow them to repatriate Choksi to his homeland to answer 4 charges. They've reportedly submitted documents to show Choksi did not complete the process to relinquish his Indian citizenship and that he's the subject of an Interpol Red Corner notice. The judge is expected to rule on the habeas corpus matter Thursday. Also coming out of this hearing, an order for Choksi to go before the magistrate's court to answer the illegal entry charge. These images from Dominica News Online show him entering the magistrate's court in a wheelchair. Jimmy J. O'Shea, ABS News. All eyes on the High Court of Dominica Wednesday morning as the court heard Choksi's writ of habeas corpus. The Indian-born diamond mogul, who's acquired Antiguan and Barbuda citizenship through the CIP, says he was kidnapped from Antigua last Sunday and taken to Dominica. Dominican authorities have detained him for illegally entering the country. Choksi brought the habeas corpus matter last week, alleging the authorities were holding him unlawfully. He appeared via Zoom at the hearing before High Court Judge M.E. Bernie Stevenson. Reports from journalists in Dominica said the respondents asked the judge to dismiss the case, arguing it was improperly filed. But Choksi's lawyers argued the request was unreasonable, as the matter is of great public importance. Government lawyers in Dominica have reportedly said Choksi should be deported directly to his native India instead of Antigua and Barbuda. Indian law enforcers are in Dominica, hoping the court will allow them to repatriate Choksi to his homeland to answer 4 charges. They've reportedly submitted documents to show Choksi did not complete the process to relinquish his Indian citizenship and that he's the subject of an Interpol Red Corner notice. The judge is expected to rule on the habeas corpus matter Thursday. Also coming out of this hearing, an order for Choksi to go before the magistrate's court to answer the illegal entry charge. These images from Dominica News Online show him entering the magistrate's court in a wheelchair. Jimmy J. O'Shea, ABS News.
Tourism stakeholders in the Bahamas have a positive outlook on the industry as arrivals are increasing, but some have reservations. More from Eyewitness News.
Well, stakeholders tonight weighing in on the progression of business in the tourism sector. This as the Minister of Tourism earlier this week indicated that arrivals and businesses were on the rise. Our Janelle Longley has this update.
Based on travel visas, the next few months for the country's #1 industry is looking promising. And President of the Taxi Cab Union, Wesley Ferguson, says he's in agreement.
Basically, gradually getting back to some normalcy. In fact, the numbers, every time I get the update from NAD, the numbers are increasing every day. So, like say for instance, this week alone, the first time in a long time, we have over 3,000 visitors coming in internationally. Okay, in one day.
For more than a year, businesses for tourism-related companies have been stagnant. Even taxi cab drivers who were lucky enough to gain some business from the reopening of hotels decreased the number of cars in operation as a result of low hotel occupancy. Ferguson is delighted, though, that things are slowly changing.
I'm excited that even just this week, the Coral Towers has been reopened, so taxi drivers now can spread out a bit. So even those who actually did not return to work as yet are now back on the job site.
Now business for vendors who are usually posted along the beaches. That's the hair braiders, the tour operators, and the conch shell salesmen. They say that business has been faring pretty well, but not for a lot of their colleagues who are stationed at beaches that are surrounding hotels that remain closed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. They say business for them has been the opposite.
It's kind of hard. It's hard because, you know, you used to making a certain amount of money and you got the bills still coming in. Right. But thank God that the people that you owe isn't as hard as you thought they would be. And Sandals is about 8 of us, and we're not able to go to work. They were saying in November, but we pray that it opened before November.
This resident is a conch salesman on Goodman's Bay, and though he's not seeing the sales he may be used to, there is progress.
Things has been improving. I hope it stays like this though, you know what I mean? Anything is better than last year, so I actually appreciate just to be doing something right now.
Jet ski operators have been discouraged from operating due to the progression of COVID-19. As for straw market vendors who also remain in limbo for well over a year, the Prime Minister had this message for them in the House of Assembly on Wednesday.
And you want to again remind the straw vendors that they should get prepared and they should all consider becoming vaccinated.
Janelle Longley, Eyewitness News.
More than half of adults in New York City have received at least one dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. But the city is hoping to bolster its vaccination rate in younger New Yorkers by giving the shot to students in some schools. Rahima Ellis explains how the program will work and how it could impact returning to in-person learning.
More than half of New Yorkers have received at least one vaccine dose. Now the city is hoping to get more shots in the arms of younger people. So they're taking the vaccines into some of the city's schools. NBC News correspondent Rahima Ellis joins us now outside the Bronx Writing Academy and the JHS Jordan L. Mott School in the Bronx. So Rahima, good to see you. First of all, tell us, how is this program going to work?
Well, they hope it's a really simple process to get vaccinations into the arms of kids 12 to 17 years old, because all they have to do is show up here at school, like there are two behind me here in the Bronx, and no appointment will be necessary. Just come to school. This is a pilot program that's starting today, as I say, in 4 schools here in the Bronx section of the city. They hope it will be so successful that in the coming weeks as we end this academic year, it will expand to schools all across the city, because the mayor is hoping that they can get the city through herd immunity. Take a listen to Mayor de Blasio.
New York City is ahead of the national average in youth vaccination, and we want to double down on that. We're going to be bringing vaccines directly to some of our schools. It will be expanding to schools across the 5 boroughs. We're going to see if this is the kind of approach that could really help us reach more and more young people.
One of the things in terms of reaching young people, this is a city with a school population of 1 million kids. So if they can reach a large number of them, the mayor says that will help them going a long way, again, to making certain that everybody in the city is safe.
Hey, Rahima, looking ahead to this fall, New York City schools plans to fully reopen in person, no remote option. Getting more kids vaccinated could change what the classroom looks like. Do we know how many school-age kids over the age of 12 have already been vaccinated?
Yeah, we do. According to the mayor, it's about 118,000 New York City school kids aged 12 to 17 years old. He says that's about 23% of the number of kids in that age group, and that's slightly above the national average. In actuality, it's 1% above the national average. What Mayor de Blasio wants to do is to get it even higher than that. Joe?
And Rahima, the city's not just going into schools. What else are they going to try and do to encourage younger people to get vaccinated?
You could just about name it. They're going to have DJ parties. They're going to be vaccinating kids at raffles and at youth programs. They're also planning to have the New York Aquarium offer vaccinations to kids as well. The whole point of this is take the vaccination to where the kids are. Don't make it difficult for parents to get their kids to a vaccination site, but go where the kids are already going. And that's one of the reasons why they're going to be starting this program here this morning at these 4 New York City schools in the Bronx. Joe?
All right, Rahima Ellis, good to see you. Thanks so much.
Government officials in northern Nigeria say they are negotiating with kidnappers to release more than 140 students abducted on Sunday. More from Al Jazeera.
Haruna Mustafa consoles one of his 2 wives. When armed men attacked the Salihu Tanko Islamic School on Sunday, 9 of his children were there. 4 were able to escape, but others were taken by the kidnappers. As the crisis drags on, he feels let down by government.
What we hear about the government's attitude to this crisis is making us more angry. That officials don't care because it's a religious school and not owned by the government. As it is, many of us have given up hope on seeing our children again.
It's an accusation the government denies, but insists it won't cave in to threats by the criminals.
The position of Niger State government is that no payment of ransom. We are not averse to negotiation because negotiation could mean so many things. It's not necessarily exchanging money.
That's not the assurance parents want to hear as they camp outside the school waiting for news of their children. The school in the center of Tegina is now empty, except for the occasional visits by its remaining staff. The head teacher says he receives on average 4 calls a day from the kidnappers.
They demanded the ransom of 110 million. That is from Monday, Tuesday, up to Wednesday. But now they have increased the ransom to 200 million naira. That if we didn't pay that ransom, that is going to be a trouble. That they'll call me so that to go and take the dead bodies of the toddlers they picked from the school.
That's about $500,000, an amount the parents say they can't afford. The mood in Tegina is that of despair, anger, and resignation for some. Nearly 1,000 students have been kidnapped across Nigeria in the past 1 year, raising concerns about the future of education, especially in the north of the country.
The parents may feel they find it very, very difficult to take their children to school. But we are praying, we are hopeful, we will keep on encouraging ourselves.
As the stalemate continues, residents say the crisis has claimed more casualties. 2 mothers traumatized by the abductions collapsed and died in the past few days.
A day after Tegina was attacked by gunmen, this major road was cut off as travelers watched them take cattle and other property away from villages. Local people are scared and they said they were attacked by gunmen on more than 100 motorbikes, each with 3 armed men. A government official says as many as 3 attacks are carried out on some days simultaneously in Niger State, Nigeria's largest.
Nigeria's largest state, has seen a sharp increase in attacks by armed groups, many of whom officials say have been pushed out from the northern state of Zamfara, while thousands have been killed in the past 6 years. Officials here say some of the attacks are being carried out by Boko Haram, who are setting up new camps in central Nigeria. Ahmed Idris, Al Jazeera, Tegina, north central Nigeria.
In sports, qualifying games for the Qatar 2022 World Cup are being played across South America despite rising COVID-19 cases there. The matches come just days before the Copa America tournament kicks off in Brazil. It was a last-minute choice of venue after the original co-hosting countries, Argentina and Colombia, were deemed unsafe. Al Jazeera's Daniel Schwemmler reports from Buenos Aires, Argentina.
International games in Latin America, both the World Cup qualifiers and the Copa America, will go ahead because the regional governing body CONMEBOL has decided they must.
What CONMEBOL doesn't want is that in the next World Cup, and next year in Qatar, European teams are too strong for them. So they think competitions must be played as they are scheduled.
This despite Argentina recording a daily average of 32,000 new COVID-19 cases. Colombia has seen wide-scale anti-government protests and has recorded nearly 90,000 deaths. So now, on June the 13th, Brazil will host the Copa America, but they've recorded nearly 470,000 deaths from the virus and hospitals are on the verge of collapse. So is it really the best option?
It's not the best, it's the only. And that's why the Copa America is being held in Brazil.
They have the stadiums after hosting the 2014 World Cup and the last Copa America in 2019. It's also a country with a president, Jair Bolsonaro, keen to hold the competition. He's always called the virus nothing worse than a little flu and says life should continue as normal.
There will only be a few Copa America games, so I don't know why people are against it, especially as we're still playing games in the Brazilian domestic championships and the Libertadores Cup.
The games will be played in empty stadiums, but several players and managers have already expressed their concerns.
Surely the situation in Brazil is the same or worse than it is here, which makes the decision to play there difficult to understand. This doesn't mean, however, that we won't go and play our best.
But first, the focus is on the World Cup and the resumption of qualifying games. Each country plays 2 matches before the Copa America kicks off. Brazil and Argentina, as they often do, sit at the top of the table, while Venezuela, Peru and Bolivia occupy their customary places at the bottom. Football in South America is more than just a distraction, an idle leisure pursuit. It's wrapped up with politics and finance, and many would say life itself. So even while the coronavirus pandemic continues to wreak havoc across the continent, the game remains a fundamental part of the debate. Daniel Schweimler, Al Jazeera, Buenos Aires.
This has been the SKN Newsline and Newscast on Channel 95. If you want more on these stories, you can visit our website at www.sknnewsline.com. From all of us here at SKN Newsline, I'm Andre Huey. Thank you for watching.